Thank you for having us. Thank you. Allow me to show you backstage before all the action begins. All right, let's go. So we're here with the designer, Alex Rizenick. This is his collection that we're showing here at the 5th annual Pink Carpet event. Tell us a little bit about your inspiration for this collection and why this is called important near your future.
Well, first of all, the part where a lot of my friends and family, you know, anything that I can do to help get back
That's great.
as far as my collection goes, this collection was entitled Amadeus. Amadeus. So it was based upon a ship who wanted to go to the opera and she asked all of her girlfriends to go with her and all her homeboys to go. So it's a little upscale, but it's still a little burden. Gives you a little variety of what you can do.
We cannot wait to see it.
Assalamu alaikum, peace and blessings. Welcome to Modest Beauty Podcast. I'm your host, KhalidaTheModel, and today's special guest, as you can see here, those of you who already know him, I am going to introduce him. He is Mr. Ian Williams. He's a former professional model and actor who was in multiple international awards, recognized designer and producer. Mr. Ian Williams is a 3-time British Vogue featured designer. He is the founder and the executive director of DC Fashion Week. This is an honor for me actually to be able to interview him on my Modest Beauty podcast. We'll get to the reason why later. Let me continue. He regularly provides his fashion commentary on social media and all the news outlets such as Fox 5, WTTG, and ABC News, Channel 8. He is also the recipient of the Fashion Icon Award, You Design Me. He is the designer to watch on Council Magazine, Outstanding Achievement in Fashion Maryland Fashion Awards, winner of the Best Indie Menswear Designer, Black Fashion Designer Association, New York. Top 100 events, number 3, fashion, in Washington by Biz Bash Magazine, and Best Tourist Attraction, Washington Award Committee. He is a red carpet designer. Mr. Ian Williams recently combined his Magnum underwear collection with his red carpet label Couture. Am I saying that right?
Couture, yes.
Couture International for his 35th consecutive showing of DC Fashion Week. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Ian Williams. Thank you for coming on, and I appreciate you doing this.
I'm just super excited. Thank you for having me. I'm even honored to see your growth as a model and then transitioning to news correspondent. I think that's great, amazing. Tyra Banks once said that in order to have longevity in this business, you have to learn how to adapt. And I love seeing models do that and continue to grow their brand, to expose their talent to the world, and just say how great the DMV talent is. So I'm honored to be here, and I'm happy to be here.
I appreciate it. And we will discuss how we actually met. But we are at an event.
Yes.
Is the pink carpet?
The Pink Carpet event is the 5th annual Pink Carpet event. As you know, October is Breast Cancer Awareness.
Yes.
Many of us are familiar with people who have been diagnosed with this potentially deadly disease. We also know that African American women have a significant larger percentage of contracting the disease and also not having a higher mortality rate with it.
Yep.
So education, self exams are just needed. More people need to understand that this is a serious plague in our communities, and we're grateful for events like this that bring awareness, that celebrate the survivors, so that people know they're not alone. So I'm always happy to lend a hand.
That's right. Thank you. Thank you. You do give back to the community, and we appreciate that. And that brings me to my first question. Tell me about Mr. Ian Williams. Who is Mr. Ian Williams? and if you notice, I named a bunch of hats that you wear: model, actor, director, producer. I can go on and on.
Yes.
How do you manage to be all those people, do them so well,
Thank you.
and continue? Yeah, you're welcome. And continue to push through.
Well, you only have one life to live, and I started in this industry. I remember my freshman year I went to college. I wanted to be a doctor,
Oh, wow.
and once I really got a full understanding of how long it was going to take, I went to my guidance counselor, and I said, you know what? I want to finish this as soon as possible. What is the highest paying career in 4 years to graduate from here? And she said computer engineering. I said, so put me in that. So I jumped into computer engineering. I was trying to self-fund that for a while. And then I went into the military because it sounded like a great getaway. They would pay for the college. They would pay me while I was going. So that seemed better. So I did that. I stationed over in Europe. I was in Air Force Intelligence. I left there to go to NASA. I was a NASA engineer on the Hubble Telescope project for like 9 years. And then I was telecom companies, the last one being Bell Atlantic, which is merged into Verizon. I was very good in information science and technology, but I hated life. I hated going to work. It was literally 8 hours is all you got out of me.
Yep.
At 8:01, I was stopping mid-sentence and head out. I've always been
Difficult,
attracted.
I'm sure. Long hours and just.
It is, but if you're doing something that you really love. But I had a family, have a family. We have a family, 3 kids. Trying to be a good provider, and it was just a way that I was able to surpass discrimination in the workforce, because for computer skills, it didn't matter what you look like, where you came from, even if English wasn't even your first language. If you had the computer skills, they were hiring you.
That's it.
So
Right.
that's the field. So it was lucrative in that sense.
Yeah.
But I always, I started modeling in high school, and then I started being a designer, and I started teaching models at John Casablancas. So I've always been attracted to the business. So when I saw the opportunity to leave corporate America and just focus on my passion, I did that. And you hear it so often. If you do something well enough, it will pay for itself.
Yes.
I don't care
Yes.
if your job is watering plants. If you water plants better than anybody else, the money will come. If your job is you can make a peanut butter cookie, if you make the best peanut butter cookie, it's gonna pay off. So delve into your passion.
Wow. So out of all of those skills that you do have and all of the hats that we talked about earlier, which is your favorite? I know you are a designer, but you also put such a wonderful show on in this fashion, and it's not easy. And it's
Oh, no, it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work,
moving
and
parts.
exactly, and it's a few days.
I have an amazing team. I couldn't do it without my team. My associate producer, Jimmy Jones, my stage manager, David Miller, my production assistants, Chris and Portia, my lead makeup artist is Ned, Flan captures all the beautiful pictures, Damon catches video. I'm sure I'm missing somebody, but I'm blessed with a phenomenal team. Most people don't know, I love to direct. I love to shoot
that
short
is your
films. I love producing a show
Okay.
with my designs in it.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's like
Right.
producing a play and putting your baby in it.
Yes, and no, that makes sense. That makes
So
sense.
that part,
Yep.
I really do like that part. Television, I love the finished product. I don't like the process, the shooting and the editing and the filming and that part. But I love seeing the finished product with that. But in terms of what it gives me the most pleasure, I love designing. I love shooting the images and creating the editorial stories. So that's what I get most excited about.
Okay. So you did talk about earlier that I think you were introduced to fashion design in high school.
Yeah, well, I started as a model. I entered a modeling contest. It was in Memphis. It was based off schools. And my school recommended me to be the male model for the school because they liked the way that I dressed. I won the contest.
Nice.
And then I ended up modeling. got bit by the modeling bug. My father didn't embrace it, in the 80s as much.
I think that's a lot of our parents and our backgrounds.
Like, no, you're gonna get a real trade.
Right, but once you get in there and they see how well you're doing,
right,
and then sometimes they do change.
Well, see, in the 80s, there wasn't a model of color that resonated with the community.
That's
so
right.
there wasn't, a Tyson Bedford. There
That's
wasn't
right,
a Boris Kojo.
right.
So there wasn't one that the model that most people, and I'm not even say it was a model, Superfly.
Yeah.
That wasn't a model.
No, you're right.
Shaft.
Yeah, that's right, Shaft. That's
those
right.
were the icons.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't really see that, and there wasn't anyone that, in the modeling industry, women make 10 times more than the men. It's the only field that they do that in.
That is true. I know that.
So my hat's off to them.
Yes, thank you.
So he didn't embrace that. He wanted me to get a skill set and do that. But he got a chance before he passed to see Fashion Week and to see the collection, and he was very impressed and happy and proud of me. And he told me so. So
absolutely.
It was a
That's
blessing.
the end product, and that's the most beautiful thing. So
it's a blessing.
It is a blessing. So what and who are your things that are inspiration when you are designing?
For me, it could be anything. You just never know. This last collection, believe it or not, I was actually so funny I have them on. I wanted these pool slides by a designer, and they were sold out. And sometimes when you can't get something you really, really want it, I'm looking at all the different websites, and I finally got them. And I'm more a fan of white gold and platinum than I am of yellow gold. But chicks just love these pool slides that are yellow gold and black. And I just decided that my next collection we're just going to merge those colors together. Nothing too scientific. It just caught me on a good day.
But that's inspiration enough.
That is sometimes I find inspiration in nature. Sometimes I did a collection with dress pieces. It was a drop of oil, and the water hit it, and I saw all the pretty pinks and blues and turquoises, and I built a color palette for that.
Yeah, this collection, I am going to get some pictures off so that our viewers can see, because we do have viewers and listeners, so I will get some so they can see. It was a beautiful collection, and I really liked it. I really liked it. So what qualities should a fashion designer develop, or what qualities should they either naturally have or build to become the caliber of a designer like you?
Well, I've learned since then. So first I would say they really have to be educated. There's no denying that certain people have self-talent. I'm a self-taught designer. I didn't go to fashion school. I went to engineering school.
Right, that's true. But you can relate it, because that was another question I had before. You can relate your
the technical background in terms of how you organize and process things and following those best practices, those were very helpful for me. Building the website, things like that, I got to jump with innovation with that. However, going to school to get the technical foundations and learning how to do the patterns and things like that will benefit you far better today. So I would tell anyone that wants to enter the fashion design to get the education background. A lot of people can do the creative process, but they don't understand the business process. Some of your most talented designers don't sell anything. And I think it's because they haven't mastered the business process. And there are other designers who I'm going to say are inferior to those that are super talented, and they do extremely well because their marketing is great. And there are a number of retail chains that put out copies of designer things that are not great quality, but they're because of social media, people don't want to wear stuff twice.
Yeah, now I heard Michael Kors talk about that. He did.
Well, if I feel good in something, I wear it today. I can wear it 2 days someday. I can wear it tomorrow.
And if it's beautiful like that, and you paid so much money
long
for
as it's clean.
As long as it's clean, and you paid a lot of money for it as well.
I don't care if it's a $5 shirt. If I put it on and it fits right, and I'm feeling good in my $5 shirt, I'm gonna wear it to the 7-Eleven. I'm gonna wear it to. So for me,
That's right. Well, this next question is talking about DC Fashion Week and your production. What year did it all begin? So there's a couple of parts of the question. You also put DC on the map. I mean, for just DC Fashion Week. Of course, DC's on the map, but for DC Fashion Week, you put us on the map, which is another accolade.
A lot of great community partners come on board. I'm so grateful now that we have a mayor that understands the creative economy She launched an initiative, 202 Creates, which celebrates that. We've not had that before. DC has been voted as one of the best cities for the creative process to build their businesses, so that's fantastic. We have that support. We have a vibrant arts community, a lot of great talent here. We're entering our 18th year.
18th year, wow.
We have 2 seasons, so we just celebrated season 35,
That's
season
right.
36 in February.
Right.
With being the nation's capital and being home to different embassies and representing the whole country and being about diversity, we've always done that from the very beginning. We've had plus size models, we've had models of color, we've had here compared models, we've pretty much looked at all shapes and sizes. Of course, designers, our clients, they favor the industry standards, but
That's
we
right.
do make a lot of exceptions
That's right.
for that. We just think that the faces of beauty comes in all shapes and sizes.
They
so
do.
we're super excited about it.
And that's one of my questions. You are the first to actually embrace the modest fashion on the runway.
Oh, absolutely.
I know that, and that's why I want to make sure it is well known, because you are the one that put the mind, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted you on my Modest Fashion or Modest Beauty podcast, because you are an icon with that, because you gave me the opportunity. That's how we met. You
Gotcha.
gave me the opportunity to walk down and to present what I have, although I am a modest model. What was your because of you wanted to embrace that? I mean, what was your thought behind it?
For me, I was introduced to it by Lisa Muhammad, and I said, I think this is pretty cool. And we had just experienced 9/11, and I'm all about breaking barriers and understanding people being prosecuted or being discriminated because of their background or their faith or something like that. So I thought it was an excellent opportunity to educate the masses.
There you go.
That we would still be able to keep the peace, and that because of what was going on in our country, it wasn't solely selected for just an individual or individual faith. And they were asking, so well, you're a Christian, and I said, but we're in the United States, and God loves everyone, and we embrace everyone. That's what's so great about living in America, that we can all work together collectively, especially we have something in common. And then what we have in common here is fashion.
Yep.
And there is fashion for everyone. And here's the way to relate.
That's right. Excellent, excellent. So with that, what sparked your interest to take such an enormous project as DC Fashion Week and be successful, not once, not twice, but 35 times. 35, you hear me? 35 times, and be very successful and keep going. What made you keep going?
Well, it's definitely my passion.
But it's an enormous task.
There's so many people. I did a fashion show. I had a great sponsor for it. Most of the things I do with fashion is self-finance. I use my own revenue for my brand and the reasons for that. And after the show, I wanted to say, well, what do I do next? Because again, I didn't have that fashion degree background, and I wanted to know how could I get the word out other than the people that were in attendance. So, of course, I heard of New York Fashion Week, and I started to go do that. I gave the organizers what I had just completed, and I wanted to duplicate that in New York Fashion Week. And at that time, I was told what I wanted to do was 6 figures for a 20-minute show. And they couldn't even guarantee that press would still be there or celebrities would be there, because that was a thing back then. And I was like, I know every designer is not paying this kind of money to do a showcase. There has to be a way for designers like me or designers, particularly of color, to exhibit and introduce their fashion to the fashion community.
That's right.
So they gave the birth for DC Fashion Week. I trademarked it so no one else can come get it.
That's right.
Patent the trademark. And we've had a few other people, try to bootleg, but people know bootleg is inauthentic. We are the official DC Fashion Week. Let's be clear on that.
That's right. That is right.
But bless their little hearts.
But you know what? It's always like that with us anyway. Anytime we have something good, anytime we are up there with, the top, they want to steal, they want to take, and they want to.
But really, there are opportunities to partnership. And so, of course, you can do it on your own, but why reinvent the wheel?
Right, that's
right. But
That's right. So my other question here, since we are here and you love to give back to the community by hosting the 5th annual Pink Carpet event, I know you spoke about it earlier. What are your thoughts of being a part of this wonderful platform that brings awareness and showcases breast cancer survivors? Just to share, I was also not diagnosed, but it was a lump, but it was benign. So it was scary. It was very scary.
It has to be.
And for somebody to do this and for you to host it, there must be a drive, or like you said, there's so many of us with path and of women of color. What are your thoughts on
Well,
that?
cancer used to be terrifying for me. I lost both parents to cancer.
Oh, yep.
So there have been several people loved ones that we've seen go through this. I even, as a man, do breast exams.
Right. You have to, 'cause
Oh,
they don't think you have to, but you
right.
do.
So we know
You
that,
absolutely do.
and right now his name escapes me, but it was the actor that played Shaft, I believe.
Yeah.
That was
Samuel L.
diagnosed with
Jackson.
No,
No. He
the
wasn't.
first
He was
Shaft,
the first Shaft.
Shaft.
Right. Yeah, that was the 70s, 1970s.
Right, I can't think
yeah,
of his
yeah.
name,
Me
but
either.
I think I may have the information wrong, but it was a major African American male macho actor that was diagnosed. So that let us know. It brought awareness to it that men have to check. And one of my closest friends is a doctor, and he had a lump and had to have it removed.
Wow.
So you do have to check. You have to check. So a lot of men will wear a prostate and colon, but we're not necessarily paying attention to breast because we don't relate to that. We're
We sure
men.
don't. No, that's good.
But it's something you have to do. You
Yeah,
still
and
have to do.
we appreciate you being here, and we appreciate you being the host.
So many of the models are from Fashion Week, so they're here supporting the event. Some of the designers have also done Fashion Week. It's all about networking and giving them different opportunities and platform. I think this is an amazing platform. We're in a beautiful space, still in the DMV area, and the organizers are recognizing the survivors. And I think it's nice for them to come out and dress up and feel good about themselves and enjoy some fashion.
That's right. Sounds good. No one who doesn't love that, right? Where can our listeners and our viewers find you and your designs? I know you do have a website, but if you'd like to.
Well, everything really starts with DC Fashion Week for us. So official DC Fashion Week on Instagram and DC Fashion Week on Facebook and Twitter. If you want to follow my antics, I'm Mr._DC Fashion Week on Instagram. We exhibit twice a year in February and September.
We just came off of one.
We just did. So we're looking for models, volunteers, designers, vendors, media, people that want to come out and support, celebrate fashion in the nation's capital. We're happy to have you.
Thank you. Our last question. What advice and or words of inspiration can you as a fashion designer and a fashion show producer leave us with?
I believe that as a fashion designer, definitely create from the heart, but also create with a career mind. It's nice to have great fashion, but you don't want to be fabric rich and poor. So you want to identify who your client is and cater to that client. And if you do that, you'll do well.
I appreciate it. And with that, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you being here. Stay fashionable, stay trendy, and in our case, stay modest. Thank you, Mr. Ian Williams.
Thank you for having me.